Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Hello, my gorgeous souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. I am currently still in Sedona, soaking up all of the epic vortex vibes with my husband and our little pup, Leia, who likes to show up in my podcast every now and then. It's been so much fun to just get out of LA and come to a place that inspired me so much. I just knew that I had to launch my Rich Babe Academy from here. Speaking of which, I am so excited to share an interview that I did with one of my previous Rich Babe Academy students, Cia Wiggins. Cia is an RBA grad from 2019 who had a very rough start to her journey when she found herself out of work, pregnant, and living with her parents in their basement with her husband and child. I was so inspired to hear how Cia transformed her reality through the spiritual principles and tools that I share inside of the Rich Babe Academy. It's seriously amazing what she accomplished by working on her mindset, persevering, and staying consistent with the belief that her success is inevitable. Cia is a master at doing all of the things. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's a creative content marketing coach, as well as a licensed marriage and family therapist. You guys are going to love her, and you can find out more about Cia through the links in the show notes, as well as the link to sign up for the Rich Babe Academy. Doors close on Friday, September 4th at midnight, which is just a few days away. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Cia, and thank you so much for joining the Manifestation Babe podcast and choosing to share your awesome Rich Babe story with us. How are you today?
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor. I am doing well. I'm excited. I'm ready to share my story with the world.
Yay! So before we dive into that story, can you just give us a little bit of a context as to who you are? What is it that you do? Just a little bit of a background story so people can get acquainted with who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Cia, and I do a lot. That's how I always introduce myself, because that's exactly what I do. I'm a creative at heart. When I'm not doing anything creative, I'm also a therapist. So right now I run a content creative business where I help business owners uplevel their content so that they can sell. Because really when you're selling, it's about value and not really your product and your connection. Outside of that, I am a therapist. I'm a marriage and family therapist. And I also own my private practice where I do a lot of creative arts and helping adults, actually, not just children, but adults gain their clarity.
Amazing. And you're also a wife and mother too, right?
I am a wife, yes. I'm a mother of 2 Irish twins.
Oh.
So not quite there, but they're a handful. And outside of that as well, I do short films and things like that. But again, like I said, I'm a creative at heart.
So you really do everything. You weren't kidding. Wow.
No.
Cia, can you just take us back? Because I know we were talking right before we aired that you were in last year's Rich Babe Academy. Can you just go back as far as you need to and just kind of paint us a picture as to where you were before you came into the program, kind of what your life looked like, and what is it that led up to that defining moment where you're like, oh my God, I need to sign up for this. I got to invest in myself.
Yep. So I actually remember the exact moment right before I had my son. I figured out, or I was told I was pregnant, even though I got a negative pregnancy test twice from my OBGYN. And I remember going at this time, we were like in a rough spot in life where I had just had my first daughter, I had some medical complications. So I lost my job. And because I lost my job, my husband was going through a transition. So we decided to, well, I shouldn't say we decided, we kind of resorted into living back with my mother. And so if you can imagine, it's a house of 4 people already. And then we had another 3 with myself, my daughter, and my husband. And we had to live in a basement that wasn't really living friendly, but because we were in such a tight spot. So, I'm on the phone and they're like, oh, congratulations, you have a boy. You're not having a boy, you're having a baby. And I was silent and she was just like, are you happy? And I was just like, no. I'm not in the situation to have a baby. At the moment, it was just more so I was thinking about my finances.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do. My husband is more so of, we'll figure it out. But he's like he's an optimist but with no plan, so he kind of just goes with the flow. And I'm just like, well, no, we have to, provide for a family of 4 pretty soon. So I was talking to my cousin who was just like, I know of a program that might be really great for you. She was raving about Catherine. I was like, Catherine. I was just like, what is this Catherine? And she's like, oh, it's called Manifestation Babe. And she gave me your link and I took a look at it and I was just like, Jody, how do you expect me to pay for this if I just told you I can't, like live on my own? So, fast forward, I think I was like ruminating on it for probably, at this point, it was June when I found out that I was having my second child. And then I think your RBA was closed. And she told me that I should probably do RBA instead of Manifestation Babe since, money was my focus, but it was closed. And I was just like, well, this isn't really a solution for me. So within the time period between like June to September, I was like doing everything that I could possibly do in order to gain money. But I felt like it was just a means to no end because I was doing things that I didn't enjoy. And it really, as soon as I had the money, it was just like escaping from me. And so I think I started demonizing money even more during that time period. And then I forgot about your program. Then I think, I don't remember what exactly happened. It might've like been an ad or something. And I was just like, oh, this has to be the world telling me that it's time for me to do something. So I literally gathered like all the credit cards I had and tried to make, and I think I might have even emailed your team. I was just like, listen, I really want to do this program, but is it okay if I split my payment over like 4 credit cards or something like that? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And as soon as like there was something inside of me and I was just, you know what, maybe I should use this money for something else. Like, we have other bills that we can pay. Maybe I can use it for a down payment or something like that. But I was literally going to puke. Like literally I felt everything in my stomach, like coming up into my throat. But I hit submit and I thought I would have vomited, but I remember having like this huge sigh of relief. And I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders and something told me like, it's going to be okay. And that's how I joined RBA.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay. I have a couple questions for you based off of what you just shared. Can you share a little bit, like, how far back does your story around money go? Because I know that you said that you were struggling after you lost your job, right? And then you had this, like, you didn't have the best relationship with money and you felt like there was not enough. You weren't going to survive. Like, you were just very worried about it. Does any of that extend back, like, in your childhood or anything like that? Was it like kind of a repetition of something you've experienced before? Or was this the first time you ever experienced struggle with money?
No. So to be completely honest, this is very selfish of me, but I thought my struggle started when I got married because that's when we started joining finance or we had joint finances. And I thought before that money was great. But looking back after kind of doing your program and I kind of looked at my habits like prior to getting married, and just going all the way back to childhood, I remember my mom was like a really huge factor. And she would always say like, we need money. We don't have money. We don't have money. And in my head, I kind of took that perspective to always think like, oh, I don't have money. I don't have money. And from there, it was just like, oh, well, even if I have this money, I don't have it because it has to go to bills, or I don't have it because we have to go buy groceries. So I think I should know from when I was a child, just hearing that all the time. And I remember, I think there was a exercise, but I remember coming so I'm not from America, I'm from Jamaica. And I remember coming from the plane or on the plane and coming to America, and my mother just literally worrying. And I don't know if she was just worrying about being on the plane and money, but I remember her saying specifically, because my aunt was with us as well, because we traveled I lived with my aunt, my cousin, and my mom at the time. But I remember her saying like, oh, we're going to America maybe so that we can get more money and not struggle. And I think what stood out to me was struggle. Like, oh, so I guess we're struggling. And then when we got to America, and then we're still struggling because my mom is still saying like, oh, we need more money. We don't have enough money. And that's kind of just what stuck with me. And I think that became my money story, like not having enough.
How old were you when you immigrated?
4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah. So it's very, very young. So based off of this, like what made you decide to, you were talking about like how you were kind of deciding like, maybe I should be using this money that I do have that I was able to accumulate for something else, but instead I'm putting it into this program where there's literally no proof as to what's going to come out of it. Like, what was it? Was it like, did you have like a spiritual connection? Was it something like your higher self said? Was it just something that you intuitively knew to do? Or is it something that like maybe your cousin helped you make this decision? I'm so curious to hear like, what was that thing? Because I have my thing and I talk about it all the time. It's a voice inside my head that said for me to do it. But I'm really curious to hear like, what was your deciding factor? Like, how did you forego this quote unquote certainty and security of using that money to pay for bills or something like that, and instead you were like, no, it's going to be this program?
Right. So I'm glad you asked this. So before I do anything, I always try to pray and kind of just ask God, like, if this is for me, give me a sign. And I think when I was talking to you about gathering all my credit cards, because I saw, I think the ad or what have you, whatever I saw, I remember looking at one of my cards and not having enough money on it. And when I looked at another card, I didn't have enough money on it. And then I think it might have been 3 cards, but I remember the numbers being like 333 or something like that, across all cards. And then I remember looking it up and I was just like, oh, maybe this is confirmation, because I can't remember what 333 means. But at the time, I was just like, this is it, because all of the cards have exactly this amount for exactly what I need. And that was kind of like my confirmation. I was like, okay, well, God is probably saying like, all right, this is it. This is for you.
Yeah. So what happened after you invested in yourself? Like, you don't have to go like into the specific details, because I know this is last year, so it might be hard to like think of exact details, but like through the course of, because it's been like almost a year now, can you kind of paint a picture of what happened since then? Like, what does your life look like, right? Where do you live? Like as many details as you possibly can, because I'm super curious, like what shifted for you because of the decision that you made.
Yeah. So I no longer smell like mold from living in a basement. We actually have a really nice 2-bedroom condo, but we're probably going to move again to buy a house because of the expansion. And we're in the process of doing that. So that's like a really huge investment that we're excited about. I started my private practice, which takes money, and that's super exciting. And most of all, I think I have been able to really catch on to when I'm starting those negative habits, and then kind of shifting into a more positive space to have the money flow in. Because after doing the program, like immediately after, I remember getting checks in the mail from like rebates and things like that, that I don't even recall like submitting for. Then at some point, I think like it was either December or January, I won like $1,000 for doing absolutely nothing. I don't know how these things came in.
It just flows in. Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares how or why?
Yeah. And then even my husband. So one of the biggest things is when I was doing RBA, I never told him because I feel like he would have thought I was insane for using the money to do something that didn't have like a sure return. But even after that, I think he was picking up on some of my habits and the way I was talking about money. So I used to say, I kind of, like I said, I was taking in what my mother would say. And I used to say like, well, we don't have enough money for this, or, we can't afford this. And then I started saying more things like, we're not going to do that right now. We're going to save that for a different time because we're going to use our money to do something else. Just kind of reframing and changing the way I thought about money. He started saying things like that, like, oh, yeah, we can afford this, but we're going to pay for this a little later, and I think that was like a huge change for me because I wanted him to be on board with just the, I guess, notion of knowing that, money is always infinite and it's like enough for us. So that was like a huge change, even though it didn't happen directly to me. It was just something that I was super like excited for and proud of.
Yeah. And you also had a baby, right? The baby
Yes.
was born.
I had a baby in January. That changed my life as well.
Aww.
And because I think back in June, sitting downstairs in the basement on that couch, thinking like, how are we going to afford another baby? Now that's not even a thought. Like we're literally affording this baby. He is doing excellent. I can afford a nanny. Like it's insane. Like
that is incredible. And then you also had like an internal transformation in your transformation video. I remember watching it and you were talking about how much love now that you have for yourself, which most people come into Rich Babe, its focus is on money, but what people find out once they sign up is that we go deeper than money. Like it's about being rich or wealthy or whatever word you want to use in all aspects of your life. And one of the biggest transformations that I personally love to see is when women finally feel worthy of desiring and having whatever it is that they want, and watching that self-love journey come about. First and foremost, because money is like a byproduct of that, of you valuing yourself and feeling worthy of receiving the things that you want. Can you talk a little bit more about that journey that you went on in terms of self-love, like any internal transformations that you had?
Yes. So I continuously, still to this day, like on my phone screen, I still have my like money manifesto that I look at every day, simply because it wasn't just about money for me. It was about me being kinder to myself because I was really hard on myself. Like I would like beat myself up every time I would make like a credit card purchase that I felt like I shouldn't have made. And that is like self-hate in a way. And through just the program, I felt like I was more so able to see why I did these things. And I see why I was trying to invest in myself in a way, because it was like, it's a part of my language, my love language. Like I love receiving things, and receiving things from myself was just a part of me saying to myself, like, Cia, I love you, so it was just interesting just to see how I transformed from like the self-hate and the hate relationship that I had with money to like the love relationship I had with money and myself, just throughout it all.
That is so beautiful. Do you have any advice for people who are currently in your position where you were back in June, who maybe have a hard time conceptualizing, like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I don't know how this is possible. I feel stuck right now. A lot of fear, right? A lot of struggle at this moment. And I right now, like, I know that my current location is not my final destination, but right now it really feels that way. Like, is there advice that you would have given yourself back then in June? And if so, what is it? And how can we kind of translate that into advice that you would give to someone else struggling, or in that position as well, who is struggling currently?
Yeah, I think looking back, because this is a good question, I think I would have told myself that I deserve happiness, right? And happiness comes from within. So happiness isn't circumstantial. We create our happiness, and you do what you have to do in order to create happiness. So if it's you maxing out a billion credit cards to like to up level yourself, then go ahead and do it. And only if your inner self says yes, okay guys, because I can be saying that, but that's just not.
You need to be in alignment with it for sure.
Right. And knowing that one of the things that I always tell myself too is not just money, but everything is just energy, you know? So like when you shift it, you shift as well. So don't expect a change to happen without you changing.
Mm,
And I would tell myself that too, because in June, you know, a change was happening, but I was thinking that my circumstances weren't going to change, but that's not the reality of the situation. Circumstances change because things are changing because energy is ever transforming. So
mm, amazing. Let's pretend for just a moment that just like your cousin was telling you back then, let's say that your best friend or someone that you know and love is listening to this episode right now and they're sitting on the fence and they're like, I know I got to do this, but it's like, it's really scary. And oh, am I going to jump? Oh no. Oh, am I going to jump? And they're just like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What would you want him or her to know about RBA? And in order for them to take that leap off the fence finally and jump into working on their finances and their abundance and their prosperity and money manifestation?
everything in life is going to be, everything new in life is going to be an adjustment. It's going to be scary. And if it weren't scary, then it wouldn't be something new, because even though if you handle something new differently, it's still a new adjustment. So going into RBA, it was scary, but that's just because it was something new. And I think if I were speaking to a friend, I would definitely say to embrace it, right? Embrace that scared feeling that you have and take it as a transition. Because I think sometimes when we're moving through our emotions, we're going into different transitions in life. So embrace it and know that you're going into RBA, getting not just money skills, but you're getting, to me, I felt like I was getting life skills. You know, I was gaining, it was an opportunity in itself too. So I was gaining an opportunity to learn more about myself, to have an experience with others, because you're not just in the program by yourself. You're in the same boat as some other people that might be in the program, and to build some relationships, because I still talk to a lot of people that are in RBA too. Gain relationships and the skills you need to move yourself out of that place of like scarcity and lack and into abundance, because that's what RBA provides. So it's much more than just, you know, paying money to have someone talk at you or like do worksheets. It's an experience that you will have with you for a lifetime, because these are skills that you're forever going to remember.
So you're saying it's more than just Catherine blabbing at you for 6 years?
Yes, much more. Although I loved it.
Cia, oh my goodness, this has been so amazing. Where can we find you, and where can we hang out with you on the internet and find out more about the million things that you described in the beginning of this episode that you do, and get to know you even better?
Yeah. So for my private practice, if you're in Connecticut and you're listening, you can go to asurgenthealing.com. And also I do teletherapy in Florida as well. So asurgenthealing.com. For my content business and you just want to hang out, or you want to just learn more about content for free, you can go to achieverperfection.com, and it's achieve without the E and then HER perfection.com. And then on Instagram, it's just nearly Cia, because I nearly do everything in the world. So that's me.
Amazing. So we're going to go ahead and link all that in the show notes. So don't worry about mentally spelling it out. We'll spell it out for you. You guys can go and check out Cia and all the incredible things that she does. Cia, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share your story and your wisdom. I know it's going to inspire so many people who are in the same boat as you were before you got inside of this program. You are amazing. You're incredible. I hope you have an incredible day. And for you guys listening, I will talk to you soon. See you in the next episode. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @ManifestationBabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.